How are you? Today, Monday, December the 23rd, 2024, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just finished looking at the entire career of Lefty O'Doul. Why? His 349 career batting average, top four all time. Ty Cobb, 366. Roger Hornsby, 358. Joe Jackson, 356. And Lefty O'Doul, 349. I'm not counting the Negro League players. Their stats are incomplete, a little sketchy, and they didn't play enough games for me. Now, with Lefty O'Doul, he played 970 games in his career. So he played in the major leagues, 1919 through 1934. So let's look at it. This is a recap video. 11 years in the league, got off, slow start, first couple years, 250, 167 batting average. He didn't get going until 1928. So from 1919 through 1928, not very many stats. And that's a flaw in his career. Those are his prime years from age 22 to about age 30. Not much stats. But then at age 31, 1928, he starts playing more games. 114 games, batted .319. Then in 1929, he did something incredible. He got 254 hits in a 154-game season, 100 more hits than games played. He batted .398. Now, I pointed out when I did that video, 1929 season, that this is one of the greatest hitting seasons of all time. Only two other guys did what he did in a 154-game season. George Sisler, 1920, had 257 hits and batted .401. Then in 1930, Bill Terry had 254 hits and batted .401. The third guy to have 254 or more hits in a season was Lefty O'Doul, and he did it in a 154-game season. Now, you may say, what about Ichiro Suzuki's 262 hits season? Yes, he did it in 162 games, 8 more games. But I was curious, how many hits did Ichiro have after 154 games that year? I looked it up, looked at the box score. He had 249 hits in game 154. So, according to my research, there are 3 guys in baseball's history, 54-year history, from 1870 until 2024, 154 years. 15,000 players have come through the major leagues. There are only 3 guys that had 254 or more hits in a 154-game season. George Sisler, Bill Terry, and Lefty O'Doul. How about that stat? Then in 1930, he came back, had 202 hits, batted .383. Then in 1931 through 34, had some good seasons. So let's recap it. He had 11 years in the league, 970 games. He played 1 year where he played the whole season. That was 1929, 154 games. And that was the best season among hitters of all time. Then he had 3,264 at-bats. Not enough for me. Did you know that Ty Cobb had 11,000 at-bats? So The flaw on his career is not enough games, 970, and not enough at bats, 3,264, to be considered among the greats. Cobb played over 3,000 games, 366 average. Hornsby, 2,200 games, 358 average. Lefty O'Doul, he scored 624 runs in his career. 3 seasons over 100. He had a high of 152 runs scored in a season. That's noteworthy. 152. He did that in 154 games, but a run scored per game played. He had 1,140 career hits. Not enough for me. I like guys who are in the 2,500 to 3,000 hit club to consider them among the greats of all time. So he falls short there. Only 175 doubles, 113 home runs, not a home run guy, but he did have a 32 homer season, 32 in one season. 542 RBIs for his career, not enough. He did have one season where he had 122 RBIs. 36 career stolen bases, so he doesn't run. 333 walks, okay. But his career average, 349. Now, I know this is in a short period of time. He had 7 seasons over 300. Like I said, his high was 398. He had a 383 and a 368. So we can say 3 or 4 seasons that were very stellar, very good. His career on base, 413. Career slugging, 532. And 1,736 total bases. So where can we rank Lefty O'Doul among the great hitters of all time? We can't. He doesn't have enough games and not enough at-bats. The 349 average is curious, but it's not a yardstick. It's not sufficient to measure over a career because it's not enough games and not enough at-bats. But I will say this about Lefty O'Doul's career. That 1929 season really stands out. Only 2 other guys can make the claim that he can make for that season. 254 hits in a 154 game season. George Sisler and Bill Terry. Those 3 guys can boast to the 15,000 guys who have come through the major leagues that, hey, did you see what I did one year? Now, as far as ranking him among hitters, we can't. We can't rank him. But we can take note that Lefty O'Doul's place in baseball history has that one footnote, the 1929 season. Who else can say that they had 254 hits and batted over 398? Only Bill Terry and George Sisler can make that boast. And Lefty O'Doul can say, I'm number 3. How about that? All right, we're done looking at Lefty O'Doul's career. I know it was short, 11 years. But I was curious about the guy because of the 349 career batting average. If you look at Baseball Reference and you go to lifetime batting averages, he's listed there, and that's why I covered him. Who's next? Who should I look at next? There's a list of guys. Their career batting averages are really high, and that's what I'm interested in. I've already covered Cobb and Joe Jackson, Rogers Hornsby. I covered Ed Delonte, Tris Speaker, Billy Hamilton, Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, Harry Heilman, Willie Keeler, Bill Terry, Lou Gehrig, George Sisler, Jesse Burkett, Tony Gwynn, and Stan Musial. Covered all those guys. There's someone on the list that's kind of interesting. He's old school, though, way old school. I have a choice. You got Dan Brothers. Have you heard of him? Old school, 1879 and 1880s. But he has a career batting average of 342. How did he do that? Should I look at Dan Brothers? There's another guy, Dave Orr. Now, he only played 8 years. His career batting average is 342. So, he played in the major leagues 8 years. He only has 791 games, and he only has 3,289 at-bats. Should I cover this guy? You know what? I'm going to cover him. Why? He did something that no one else has been able to accomplish in baseball history. So our next series of videos is a guy named Dave Orr, only 8 years, so we'll do 8 videos, and we'll do a recap on him. But he did something that is remarkable in baseball history. And we'll get to it next. I'm out.